In the narrow streets of first-century Jerusalem, a man named Saul is orchestrating a systematic purge. He moves house to house, dragging men and women into the street to be committed to prison. The strategy is built on a simple assumption. If you execute a leader like Stephen and terrorize the remaining followers, a localized movement will eventually collapse under the weight of its own fear. At first, the plan seems to work. A wave of persecution ripples through the city, forcing disciples to abandon their homes and scatter into the regions of Judea and Samaria as refugees. But by driving these believers out of Jerusalem, the persecutors inadvertently solved the movement's biggest problem, its geography. Those who were scattered didn't go into hiding, they went everywhere preaching the word. Saul didn't realize that in his attempt to crush the movement, he had shattered the center and sent the seeds of the message to take root in every direction. One of those refugees, Philip, travels north into Samaria, a region that had been culturally and religiously at odds with Jerusalem for centuries. Instead of facing rejection, Philip finds a city ready to listen. As he heals the paralyzed and the lame, the hostility of the past is replaced by city-wide joy and mass baptisms. The crowds include a local sorcerer named Simon. He was a man used to being the center of attention, with a reputation so great the locals called him the power of God. But even Simon is captivated by what Philip is doing and joins the movement. When the apostles Peter and John arrive from Jerusalem to pray for the Samaritans to receive the Holy Ghost, the internal health of the expanding church is put to the test. Simon watches the apostles lay hands on people and decides he wants that same ability. He reaches into his cloak, produces a sum of money, and offers to buy the power to bestow the Holy Ghost on others. Peter's rebuke is immediate. He tells Simon his money can perish with him because he thought a gift from God could be bought with a bag of coins. This confrontation established a clear standard. The movement would grow across borders, but its core power remained something that could not be bought, traded, or treated as a commercial asset. Following the success in the city, Philip receives a new set of instructions. He is told to leave the crowds and head south to a specific desolate road that runs from Jerusalem down toward Gaza. On this empty stretch of road, he intercepts a high-ranking official, the royal treasurer to the queen of the Ethiopians, who is sitting in his chariot reading the prophet Isaiah. The official is struggling with a passage describing a sheep being led to the slaughter. He asks Philip a specific question. Is the prophet talking about himself or someone else? Philip climbs into the chariot and uses that exact verse to explain the story of Jesus, connecting the ancient text to the events that had just unfolded in Jerusalem. As they pass a body of water, the official orders the chariot to stop. He asks what is stopping him from being baptized right then, steps down into the water with Philip, and is baptized on the spot. The moment they come up out of the water, the Spirit carries Philip away. He is found later in Azotus, continuing his journey of preaching through every city until he reaches Caesarea. The Ethiopian official is left alone on the desert road. He doesn't turn back. He continues his journey home, rejoicing, carrying a new set of beliefs back to his own country. In a single afternoon, the movement traveled from a roadside conversation in the desert directly into the royal court of Ethiopia. Consider the original goal, back in Jerusalem. Saul intended to trap the movement within the city walls and dismantle it piece by piece. But the very pressure he applied to destroy the church became the mechanism that forced it to expand. A group that started as a local target in Jerusalem has now crossed into the territory of their oldest rivals in Samaria and found a seat in the treasury of an African kingdom. This is the irony of persecution. The hammer designed to extinguish the ember only succeeded in scattering the sparks, ensuring the message would spread far beyond the reach of those trying to silence it.